early November and we've just left Liverpool Marina. We're fishing the River Mersey and we're catching cod. Superb. Dinner. The boat I'm on today is the Sovereign 2. It's one of two boats operated by the family firm of Jensen Sea Angling, run by a father and son team of Tony and Simon Parry. Simon is the skipper of the Sovereign 2, so hopefully that means I'll be able to monopolise on the wealth of experience of his dad Tony. The boat is an 8-metre cougar that they had built 2.5 years ago, and she's powered by twin 200 horse of Ecos, giving her plenty of oomph and a top speed of 28 knots. Her home port is actually Rhyl on the North Wales coast, but attracted by the great fishing that this river offers, Tony and Simon now operate in Wales during the summer and here in the Mersey during the winter months, where it's much more sheltered. Tell me, Tony, I mean, why are we here in particular? I mean, what are we fishing over?
This spot we're on at the moment, it's more or less mud and mussels and a bit of rough ground, bit of stone and stuff like that.
I mean, is there any features here, or is it just flat?
Yeah, when I come out on the Mersey, what I actually look for is if you follow the contour of the seabed like that, if you get a little bit of a drop off where it drops 5 or 6 foot into a hollow, I tend to fish back into those.
So you anchor up side of it and then just drop back?
I'm a believer that when you've got tide run like you've got in the Mersey, the fish need somewhere to get out that tide.
It's ferocious here with the tide when it's running. The Mersey gets its name from an Anglo-Saxon word meaning border river, most probably because it was the border between what was then Mercia and Northumbria. The eastern part of this estuary is heavily affected by silting, and part of it is marked on modern maps as dry land instead of as tidal, which is what it actually is. And the wetlands here are, as you'd expect, pretty vital to the local wildlife. On the Liverpool side of the estuary are the Liverpool Docks, which stretch for over 7.5 miles, and they're the largest enclosed interconnected dock system in the world. Every year the dock deals with around 500,000 containers, 1.25 million tonnes of oil, over 2.5 million tonnes of grain and 500,000 tonnes of timber. It handles 25% of all container traffic between the UK and USA, and it's known around the world as the Atlantic Gateway. And one last fact for you. Did you know that Liverpool was the first UK port with radar assisted operations? There, you see, you learn something when you're out with me. Well, one of the other species that you catch a lot of in the River Mersey, especially during the winter time, is thornback rays, and it looks as though Tony's hooked up to one now. It's going quite well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's holding itself down.
We've got a lot of tide here, as there always is in the River Mersey, but this fish is just hanging deep in the tide. Could be a nice thornback, let's hope so.
I'd like it to be a cod, but it feels very much like a ray.
Put it this way, if it was a cod, we'd be jumping up and down now. Oh, off he goes. He doesn't like the look of you. Excellent. They really do put up a good fight in this tide, don't they?
They do in this tide, yeah.
What sort of depth are we fishing in here?
45 foot, yeah.
I mean, that fish is staying really deep, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Normally rays in this sort of tide, they're on the surface, aren't they? But this is staying down.
But it's not got the telltale nod, bang bang of a cod. Normally when you get a cod, it shakes its head, opens its mouth in the tide and just sits there and bang bang bang. With the rays, they just tend to sort of sit there in the tide, and then every now and then they'll scoot off to one side or the other and take some line off you.
But this for a ray is staying very deep.
Yeah, it's staying very deep. Might be foul hooked, but we'll see.
Cod tend to stay deep, don't they? You know, decent sized cod, they tend to stay deep, but it doesn't feel like a cod at all. Getting a few shakes off it, but not much. Find out what it is now. It's a ray.
It's a ray. What have we got? It's a thornback. Nice one. Well, as we said, it is a thornback ray. It's a nice fish as well. It's got to be sort of £8–9. You get a lot of these in the Mersey, and you catch them pretty much all through the winter, don't you, when you're cod fishing?
Yeah, early on.
Yeah.
Early on, October, early November.
Right.
We've been getting up to 30, 35 a session.
That's really good fishing. When you're fishing for cod and you come out to catch cod and you're catching these as a bycatch, I mean, you saw how well that went in this tide, which is absolutely streaming through. It's a good bit of sport, isn't it?
Yeah.
A real good bit of sport. But look at these here. That's why they're called thornback rays. The last thing you want is one of them in your finger, because there's an anticoagulant on those spines, and if you get dinked by one, it takes forever to stop bleeding. And my dad actually got caught by one of these years ago in the Thames estuary, and he ended up having septicemia, got blood poisoning through it. So you've got to be pretty careful when you're handling these things. So this is sort of an average size fish for here, really. This is probably, I don't know, £7–8, would you say?
A little bit more than that.
Maybe a little bit more.
Might just be a double.
When you catch them from, you know, we call them little maids in the Thames estuary, from about, you know, £1.5–2 £2 up to double figures. So. But you're tagging these rays.
Yeah.
I mean, I've tagged tope, I've tagged smoothhounds, and I've tagged spurdock and stuff. But I've not tagged a ray before.
Yeah, this is the tag. It's for the Shark Trust.
Right.
And basically what they're doing is they're tagging rays, because these are dwindling right through the country, you know,
right.
for the whole of Britain. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to find out whether stocks are moving to other areas, or whether
right.
areas that have not been fished for so much, the fish are increasing in numbers.
Yeah.
And these have certainly in the last few years come on in big numbers around this area, and they're trying to find out whether they're genetically related to other rays, or whether little groups. But the tag itself, it's got a number on.
Yeah,
like this one is
and there's a phone number
0300.
there.
There's a phone number, a website. What we're supposed to do with this is measure it, but he broke his tape measure, so we're going to have to do it with a piece of fishing line. We'll get the measurements after, but we'll weigh it. This is a female as well.
Yeah. Just look at these thorns down here, look, all the way down the tail. You've got to be so careful hanging on to these. Really like prehistoric, really.
If you catch this fish, what they'd like you to do is get the number off the tag, contact the phone number on the tag or the website,
so give them all the
give them the details. They want you to measure it across the wings, down the length, and if you've got scales, weigh it.
So you can tell
so they can see how fast they're growing. And whatever else.
Spot on.
We had one last year. The very first day we were down here, Simon had one. I can't remember the exact weight. It was £7 something.
Yeah.
And that was caught on the very first trip we were down here last year.
Right.
And about 6 weeks later, it was caught something like 8 miles further up the river, off the shore, and it put on £2 in weight.
Wow.
And that's a double figure fish.
It is, yeah. Yeah, 11–10.
Just going to tag this now. What we do is we feel for the bone there. There's a bone runs along here, down there. This part here, where you can see it's soft, that is the stomach and the guts. So we don't want to put the tag in there. So we feel for the bone, follow the bone down there, just move your finger across a bit so you're into a nice, hard, firm piece of meat. And we put the tag in as shallow as can, and it's just a quick and out. Now that won't hurt the fish or anything, and that tag's safe. And that can be returned to fight another day now. And she'll go back no problem. Come on, turn over. There she goes. And away.
What a lovely fish. And there's plenty more of them to come.